Welcome back to Deck Builders. I'm your host, Brian Greer, and today is episode 21, and this is our Revelark variant. We went down to Salt Lake City Regionals with our team Deck Builders with a full carload of 7 people. It was very nice. We actually had 4 people play this variant deck, knowing that 1 person would do really well, 2 people would do okay, and 1 person would punt out. So going from that, this is our variant where we used a mana base similar to Quick and Toast and took the idea from the top 8 Revelark deck and changed it to fit more of an aggro lifestyle. This deck does feature the green base, which I do enjoy, and so we'll go into the changes that I would make since the tournament and potential making it better in the long run. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we have here. So here we have the Revelark deck. Right off the bat, you can see there's a lot of unique cards in this deck. There's a lot of 2-ofs, 3-ofs, and even some 1-ofs. Let's take a look at the mana base right now from this view. You can see that we're running the Vivid Lands with 3 Vivid Creeks, 2 Vivid Groves, and 1 Vivid Meadow. That's a total of 6 Vivid Lands. We originally started with 8, and it was just a little bit too many coming to play taps, but it did give us the ability to use our reflecting pools for any mana color source that we needed, which is a big plus because we didn't have any red sources for the Greater Garadon. For the basic lands, we ran 4 islands, 2 forests, and 1 plains, which does give us a really bad matchup with a red deck that runs the Magnus of the Moon. In retrospect, I'd almost change it to almost cut down some of the Vivid Lands and add in some more basic lands because those Magnus of the Moon drops that do hit turn 3 are very devastating for this deck. So we'll go take a look at the creatures right now and why the reason we ran the green for the aggro base. Wall of Roots is one of the main reasons. You can see it up here in the top left corner. It's a 0/5 defender, which gives you an additional mana source. We thought this was much better than the artifacts from the red, blue, white version from the top 8 because it actually able to block and save you from some damage later on in the game. We decided to go with 4 Sower of Temptations and 4 Mulldrifters because both those cards give you insane card advantage late in the game. Sower of Temptation, even if it got removed by, say, Skred or an Amos Inversion, still saved you that 1 turn of getting beat by a Greater Garadon or a Resolved Cloud Thresher. It really helped quite a bit. You can see that the body double, Revelark, and Garadon are our win condition half the time. We only run 1 Greater Garadon, which we use to tutor up with Primal Command, one of the other reasons why we decided to go with a green base. The Primal Command was actually a home run hitting card for us, and I would actually bump it up to 3 in the main deck if I had to change it. Any additional changes would actually be an additional Venser. I currently run 2 in this deck. Our other teammates all ran 3, and they ran 3 Sowers. So I would add an additional Venser for this deck list. One card I was very disappointed was with the Aven Riftwatcher over here in the corner because he did give us the life gain. We played him mainly for the red deck wins matchup, but I still felt even without him, we still beat the red deck wins matchup, especially with the Primal Commands. If we had 3 Primal Commands main, I'm sure that matchup would be a no problem. With the sideboard, let's go and take a look at some of those cards right now. I ran Razormane Mastercore, and that card was an additional bomb in the deck. It really destroyed any of the fairy matchups, any of the elf matchups, and merfolk matchups. This guy was a house and really stayed away from all types of removal. So some people don't know about the combo when you're running this deck. The basic combo revolves around the body double, Revelark, and some sort of stack outlet. Ours is the Greater Garadon. What you do is you either have Revelark and Greater Garadon in play and maybe a body double in hand. You can sacrifice your Revelark, which brings in 2/2 creatures or less, Ours are Mulldrifter, Sower of Temptation, and Venser, Shaper Servant, as well as Riftwing, Cloudskate, and Wall of Roots. What you do basically then is you will play body double copying the Revelark. That will give you an ability to have an infinite loop of Revelarks, which is a great idea against any kind of aggro, because with just these two cards you have a indestructible 4/3 flyer. So what you're going to do is you'll have the Revelark in the graveyard with the body double copying it. You will then sack all your dudes, save a Venser in play. You can sack Venser and body double to the Garadon. When Revelark triggers, it brings back two creatures. You'll bring back body double plus an additional card. We would say Venser. When Venser comes into play, he bounces a permanent. You can then repeat this process over and over till all your opponent's permanents are bounced. You can then even play Mulldrifter, drawing all your cards, Sower to capture all their guys and sack them to your own Garadon, which is a great play. Or just go for an easy win with a Revelark, a 4/3 flyer. So some of the additional cards you might want to take a look here is the Careful Consideration and Runesnag. I really enjoyed Careful Consideration because it gave you that card dig, plus gave you the discard outlet to put some of the cards in your graveyard that you could use later, such as a body double or a Venser. Runesnag I was not very impressed with because I felt like on turn 2 and 3 I'd rather have played the Wall of Roots or the Mulldrifter. Also, Firespout became a very big play main deck, and I liked it main because we had the mana base to support the red and the green, plus it gave us the now on Magnus and the Moons that did resolve. So I would highly recommend it. For sideboard changes, I would include 3 Wrath of Gods. I would move the Primal Command from our sideboard into the main. It's really hard. I'd keep the Razor Mains. I don't know if 4 was the correct number as I ran. Maybe 3 would work. The reason I'd include the Wrath of Gods is quick aggro is still hard to beat. I did lose a game to a green-white deck with elves, but that shouldn't be a matchup you should lose. You should be able to control that deck, so this shouldn't lose to any kind of aggro matchup. It does lose heavily to fairies unless you sideboard completely. We tried to sideboard of 15 cards and we're winning about 60% of those games against fairies, but that's still not a favorable matchup going into a regionals event. So half the team decided to cut the fairies matchup and say we'll focus on the other decks, which was a great idea. Aaron did that and went 10th place with 5 and 2. Myself, I kept my fairy build. I did end up playing 2 fairy decks, but it wasn't enough for the long run to make a big change on the impact of my score. So this is the deck. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you have any other questions, send me an email. We are actually going now to be building block constructed decks for the next qualifying season. So the next decks will all be block focused. Thank you for watching Deck Builders and have a great day.